Hello and welcome back. My name is Ayan Saeed, and today we have a special video for you. I will be sharing a poem to kind of introduce the next two topics we're going to be covering, which is on consent and marginalized communities. The poem relates to these two topics because it's about the pressure women feel to get married and the pressure that they feel to stay in abusive marriages because being married is so much more better than being single, that putting up with abuse is worth it. So it's kind of comparing being single and being in an abusive marriage. And I share this poem with the utmost respect for the older generation, with the utmost respect for our aunties and our mothers and our grandmothers. The older generation has suffered a lot as women. They've suffered so much as women, and they've got so many layers of trauma that when they come to us and they're like, do this or do that or be this or be that, it appears that they're reinforcing the inequalities that exist. Really and truly, they've got the best of intentions for us. They just want what's best for us from their standing point and from their perspective. And I can only imagine what they've been through without social media, without legal rights as women. And yet they're still standing, they're still strong. And this poem was as a result of a conversation that I was having with my own elder members of my own community. And we had this conversation of back and forth, and I thought it would be a really effective way to introduce the topic, so I hope you enjoy. Disclaimer: if you're anyone that has gone through domestic violence or any form of gender violence, this content might be triggering for you, so I would advise you not to watch it in order to protect your own mental health. No, auntie, I am not single because of the texture of my hair. I am single because I like having my own fingers running through my afro. I don't want my hair pulled by angry hands that belong to a man that feels entitled because of a title. I like coming home to safety, prepping my favorite meals and dancing to music that sways my hips to the rhythm of my soul. Rather than being faced with fists that crack walls and twist wrists, take it all to remain his miss, beating on and then reproducing that trauma onto children that are now exposed to the same violence. Do you understand how liberating it feels to be touched with so much self-love instead? You must not, because you're asking me to compromise that for a man that can't deliver the kind of kindness my femininity intertwines to. I want hands that rhyme with every curve and dip, not arms with elbows that leave marks and imprints. Please, put away your contact list. I don't need a husband to feel complete with myself, programmed to seek another half. Social constructions that deconstruct our wholesomeness and consent for partnerships that don't turn us into just another statistic. I need you to see that happiness is so much more than what we have been taught. Times have changed. Married with a man who abuses my rights is not in my plans. The only time my life choices are pre-selected is when I'm writing on my journal manifesting. Now don't get it twisted. If he comes, he comes. I'll welcome that king with open arms. I'll pull him up a seat and put cold press on his feet because I've been waiting on building this kingdom. But hear the emphasis on the kingdom. I'm not trying to produce children only for the sake of namesakes. I'm trying to place my queendom with a man that knows violence is never the answer when it comes to women. Does he undermine women's minds, failing to fathom the divinity of a woman? Mother Nature nurturing and nourishing souls that are continuously placing us 6 feet under. They're scared of our power. They rewrite history and try feed us a narrative when in reality, God has placed us on a pedestal. They see clearly the correlation between women and accumulation, her innate demonstration to magnify everything into magnificence. They talk about our hormones and emotions as if our wombs make us inferior, more prone to abuse, but we don't need to throw punches and flex muscles. We're the chosen, the ones whose body miraculously opened to release humans into a world that refuses to acknowledge the crown every woman carries. They talk about how women should be seen and not heard, but if that's so, who would have built your first university? Fatima Al-Fathi. Against adversity and with certainty, she took learning personally so she can develop and cultivate a knowledge-based society. So if she complied with your request for her silence, who would have schooled the scholars you seek for guidance for your patriarchal systems? The foundations of civilization lies in the hands of a woman and the magic that she brings. And yet, we shame and we blame, but she is not a temptation, a sensation we hide for fear of damnation. She is your salvation, the missing piece in your incomplete equations. When a woman has the tools to lead, she supersedes, plants seeds in barren souls, and produces gardens that feed nations with fruits and roots that boost essential human potential. Women are not there to be abused. They're the investment to a better society. So no, auntie, I do not need to dress or be a certain way so I become his. A wise man sees beyond coverings and mere items. I don't need to paint him a pretty picture to create peace, because the man I see sees art in all its forms, flaws and all. I don't need to seduce, manipulate, or deceive a man to understand. I want a man that uses his intellect when it comes to our rights. It isn't naive to believe in a love that is filled with peace. I want a compassion so deep it will make a blind man see light. He won't be confused or use me as a punching bag he lays his frustrations into, a man whose love and devotion I don't have to second guess and question. The only time I will accept a man and consent is when he adheres to the fact that the best among you is the one that's best to his wife.